You're watching ChillyBoy Productions. I'm Larry ChillyBoy Chillson, and this is my review for Women Talking. Before we get into this review, make sure to go ahead and click that subscribe button down below so that you can chill with me on each and every one of my latest videos. Women Talking played as the closing night red carpet presentation at the 45th Annual Denver Film Festival. Women Talking is a 2022 drama written and directed by Sarah Polley that follows a group of women in an isolated religious community that struggle to reconcile their faith once a string of sexual assaults occurs. The film stars Rooney Mara, Claire Foy, Jessie Buckley, Ben Whishaw, and Frances McDormand, as well as Sheila McCarthy, who was on hand to receive the 2022 Denver Film Festival Career Achievement Award. This is one of those films I've only heard of thanks to the film festival circuit and its Oscar buzz, basically. Otherwise, I don't really know much about Women Talking heading into this film. I, of course, assumed it was about women's issues and, well, women talking about said issues, but I wasn't aware really about what I was walking into on this one. Ultimately, I would categorize Women Talking as a film I respect a bit more than I loved. It's an important film that handles a lot really well, but it never quite hit the heights I was hoping for. So let's go ahead and talk about the positives first. Well, I'd like to start the positives with the acting performances because we have some stellar performances here in this film. Personally, my MVP here is Jessie Buckley, who was a tour de force, absolutely amazing in this film. She is probably one of the more complex characters here that deals with such a wide array. Oh, she's so good. And then we have Claire Foy, who is just this fierce character, this strong willed woman that also was fantastic here. Rooney Mara is a pure delight, and I have to shine light on Ben Whishaw, who is more or less the only adult male in the entirety of the film. He's the only one that shows up, and he's so good. Honestly, there's not a bad performance amongst this entire cast. Even the young women who come forth, we have a couple of actresses here who are in their very first film ever. Everybody just delivers. I also think the screenplay is pretty fantastic. It's obviously a very dense piece of work. It's an adaptation from a novel, and it tackles a lot of issues, particularly the issues of sexual assault, in a very impactful but understated type of fashion. We're really exploring institutionalized sexism and how that is passed on from generation to generation, how it manifests, the complexities of decision making when you're in these women's shoes, and how complex that is from individual to individual. It's not a monolith, but that is handled so well and was such a fascinating through line throughout the entirety of the film. The conversations are interesting and at times really riveting. And the narrative does build, though it doesn't feel like there's a ton of momentum through the first half. As we start nearing the conclusion and getting towards the ending of this film, you as a viewer find, well, I actually am invested in the through line, the narrative that has been woven about these women making this decision, this council that they've put together, and seeing them follow it through. So then what doesn't work so well when it comes to women talking? Well, I have to say I was not the biggest fan of the cinematography choices. It is shot well enough, though the color palette obviously is intentional, though I don't know that it necessarily adds to the atmosphere that it was trying to add to. Instead, everything felt more washed out than intentionally bleak. I also found the setting quite confusing. I don't know. It was very intentional to not give this place an actual name, to not locate it anywhere specifically or try to out it and root it somewhere. However, the year is revealed that this all takes place in 2010, and I just found that fascinating and somewhat strange of a choice. Setting just really kind of threw me for a loop, if I'm being honest, and it made it a little bit difficult for me to wrap my head around everything else that was going on. Once I found out what year we actually were in, it was a bit odd. Honestly, early on, we find out it's post World War II, and even at that point, I was like, "Wow, this is that late? Okay." And then it's even later than I had imagined. And do trust the title. The film is about women talking. And when the script is hitting on all cylinders, it is really fascinating and it has a lot to say throughout the entirety of the film. However, that narrative, the through line, narrative that lays the bedrock for the rest of what this script accomplishes, to keep an engaged interest when the film is leaning so heavily on just conversation the entire time. All of that to say, the story isn't as interesting as the conversations. Now, this one to me did feel a bit stage play in its execution. The way characters enter or exit and speak with one another, there are just times where it feels very staged out and a bit unnatural. So overall, I highly admire women talking. I think there's so much that this film does very well. As an actual film, I do think it lacks some of that X factor to make it truly engaging and really hit a home run that would have made the messaging sing off of the screen. As it is, it's an important film. I think it is certainly worth watching. Just be prepared to accept that title at face value. You'll get an opportunity when the film does release on December 2nd, and I am pretty sure this is one you'll be hearing about throughout the award season. So, that is my review for Women Talking. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead, click like down below and subscribe to the channel so that you are always up to date on all of my latest videos. Also, join in on the discussion. Are you excited for Women Talking, or have you had the chance to check it out? Let me know your thoughts either in the comment section down below, or you can hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your continued support. Mwah! Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.